Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Riley Dandy about That's Amor, which is streaming now on Netflix. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's exciting. I mean, the movie recently dropped on Netflix. It's pretty crazy because I feel like the mindsets are different when you're doing interviews and you're talking about it because, you know, with spoilers and everything before it's out. It's out now. And has it hit you that it's finally out and people are able to see it?
Honestly, I don't think so. It's been out for what, like 4 days now, 3 or 4 days. And we've been waiting a year, almost a year and a half for this to come out. We shot this a year and a half ago. And now that it's here, it's exciting because I get to show everyone what we've been so passionate about. Mm-hmm. But now I'm like, oh, wait, well, I kind of miss doing that again. Let's do it again.
Is there something specifically about the rom-com romantic comedy that you feel like really kind of hits stride with the audience, or is it like a combination of things, or is there one thing that you notice working on this film that really, in your opinion, makes it very appealing?
Honestly, I mean, everybody loves food. Yeah. So I think that that's what makes it different already.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I also sat down to watch it at the premiere, and I was hungry, and I sat in my seat, and I was like, this was a poor choice.
Was there a lot of like, all right, cut, and it's like, let me just snack over here? Like, was there a lot of?
Of course there was. I normally am like so conscious about what I'm eating when I'm filming. That went out the window during this. Like, the chef was making such incredible food, and I think I ate like 60 croquetas in one day.
So that's interesting that in terms of like auditioning and being cast, kind of mindset and everything, how much did you know about the character and the project? Like, did you know it was a rom-com? Did you know the food element was so big? Like, how much did you know? I'm interested in that.
Yeah. So for the first audition, I didn't know much. I just had a couple of scenes that I was going to audition with. I knew this character was a bit of a butthead. And I love that. I'm really drawn to that in a character because I love it when characters are just real people.
Yeah.
And then I got a callback, and for the callback, I got the full script, and I read the script, and I was like, I just had such a strong draw to it because I thought it was a really different take on a rom-com, to be honest. Yeah. Although all of the, like, there's a lot of similar themes that you see, but I think the fact that the main character is like allowed to be like a flawed human being the first half of the movie is what really drew me to it.
That's so great that you said that because, you know, I saw the movie and I have all these questions and everything. This is my question. So your character and a lot of characters in a lot of movies are doing a lot of like self-reflection, soul searching, figuring a lot out, right? Yeah. And during the pandemic, we have been doing that nonstop because we've had the time to do that. We've been doing a lot of thinking.
I didn't do that at all. No way.
But I'm just curious because the movie That's Amor, it becomes immediately more relatable because of the fact that we all have been doing self-reflection, soul searching. So I'm just curious if you thought about that at all specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, we shot this in the middle of the pandemic as well. So there were so many parallels that I was able to draw between going to work and then coming home and doing basically the same thing. But I think Sophia's self-reflection, I really admire because it comes from her wanting to actually get her life together after she's had her moment to lament and like be in her poo place, as her mom calls it.
Yep.
I think that it genuinely doesn't come from anyone else other than her being like, okay, I've got to put myself first. And I think a lot of us did that the last 2 years.
Because you said that perfectly about your character is flawed and there's a lot kind of happening. Were you drawn to the idea that the audience is on a journey kind of seeing the growth and development of the character? Because I feel like that's something I really enjoy about the film as well. Just seeing kind of the growth, and you have to really like kind of pay attention to see the character's growth as well.
Yes, I think it's very easy on a surface level to maybe watch this and be like, geez, this girl's a pain. Yeah. Like, it was miserable. But like, aren't we all? Like, we've all had moments where we're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, it gets to be too much. And I think you're right. Like, if you're paying attention, you start to notice that like she's starting to let not just this man in, obviously, but she's letting her mother in more. She's letting her friends in more. She's starting to wear a bit more color. And like, I think I think the filmmakers did it so beautifully as well. Like, you see her, yes, she's emotionally changing, but you also see it in a physical sense, which I think is great.
No, that's so well said. There's a lot happening in the film in terms of elements thrown in. Obviously, it's got the relationship component of it. You mentioned the food. I shouldn't be surprised that the food component was brought up so quick in this interview.
I know.
But the comedy interests me because there are kind of those moments where it's kind of heartfelt and has those laughs and everything. And I find it interesting because comedy, arguably for me, Riley, is like my favorite genre. Actually, that's not true. Horror is definitely my favorite genre, then comedy.
Starting off with lies here, I see.
Yeah, I just lied on the show. But I love my comedies. You know what I mean? I love comedy movies and TV shows. But like, I'm realizing more, like I'm watching comedies with like a lens where like there's a lot of serious undertones of like all these comedies that I'm watching. Yeah. And like, it's always been around, but like I'm noticing it a little bit more now. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely. I had this acting coach. I'll never forget this. He always used to say, life's too heartbreaking to not be a comedy.
Yeah.
And I think all of us to some extent use humor or comedy as a way to cope or, as an escape from whatever we're going through. And I personally think that the best comedies come from where characters are in very drastic situations.
Yes, absolutely. No, that's very, very true. Because I was just thinking, like some of my favorite like sitcoms from like the 90s, like there were some pretty like intense episodes that dealt with a lot of crazy like important issues in those.
Yeah, you can't appreciate the good unless you go through the bad.
Yeah. Like I remember like Boy Meets World was one of my favorite shows. And I remember like Sean Hunter, right? Like he joined a cult. He was part of the mob. Like there was so much happening.
I forgot about that. Yeah. That's great.
The movie drops on Netflix and instantly, people from all around the world are going to be able to watch your film. That's never not going to be scary. That's like one of my favorite movies itself. That's a horror movie if you think about it.
Yes. So are you asking if it was nerve-wracking?
Well, that I feel like is an obvious one, but it's like, when do you start kind of noticing the global kind of like ability of Netflix basically? Is it like as soon as it drops, it's starting to hit you now? Because like you said, it's 4 or 5 days since it's out. Like when did that start hitting you officially?
This weekend. Yeah. I think it came out on a Thursday. So, Thursday, Friday, people are still working, like not really having the time to watch. This weekend, everyone's home.
Yep.
And able to watch this thing. And, we started seeing, we're number 5 globally right now, which is insane. And we're stoked about it because this is something that like, even if 20 people watched it, we would have been really happy with what we made. And the fact that so many people are watching it all around the world and identifying with it in some way is like the most you could ask for. I can't think of anything better.
What was your mindset like when you wrapped a project? Because I always love asking that question because I feel like it depends on the project. But like, were you like, wow, like this was great, can't wait for it's out, I need a little break right now? Or were you like, all right, like what's the next project? I'm just curious about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
And specifically like at what stage you are in your career. This for me was my first time leading a film. Yeah. So I felt like I had this like insatiable thirst that came when we wrapped. I was not ready to sit still. And I got very, very lucky that this year I've been able to work a lot. So the thirst was quenched quickly. But yeah, I think for me specifically with where I'm at right now, I just want to keep working. That's it.
Absolutely. And before we wrap up, people could be able to see it now because it's streaming on Netflix now. What are you hoping they get out of it when they get to watch that some more specifically?
I really hope that viewers can, honestly, for me, I think the fact that Sophia is kind of allowing herself to be flawed and go through those feelings, I hope people see that and just realize that it's okay to take that time for yourself and figure out what you want to restart, because so many of us need to do that. And I think we're expected to kind of like hop back on the horse and be okay. So just allowing yourself to take the time to figure out what you need, and also love your mothers. If we're lucky enough to have a good mother like Nancy Lanahan plays in this movie, call your mom. That's it.
Call your mom and enjoy seeing all the food.
Duh.
Yeah, I mean that's a given, right?
I've been telling everyone to drink with a sangria in hand, or watch with a sangria in hand, and make sure you have food, because watching it hungry was miserable.
Riley, thank you so much for coming on Popternative. It was so great chatting with you.
Great chatting with you. Thank you so much.
Do you have an Instagram account people can keep up to date with if they want to?
Yeah. Yes, I do. It's at Goodbye Riley, because Hello Riley was taken. So Goodbye Riley is. Yeah,
you have to pivot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
as we all do.
Awesome. This has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Riley Daddy stars now, and That's Amor, which is streaming now worldwide on Netflix. Until next time, this is Riley and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.